really excited. Everybody's being highlighted.
Oh, is that right? Wow.
We're live. Hey guys, happy Friday. This week has been going by so fast. I feel like this month as a whole. And if you have seen any of the previous lives that we have been doing inside of the Facebook page, if you're from LinkedIn, if you're in the group, in the Skill Stability Attendees group, hi, nice to see you. Super excited to highlight today Jeff Standridge. We actually were talking about like when we first connected a while back when we recently moved to Arkansas, and I cannot wait to share a little bit of his experience. I know JC has loved to connect with you, Jeff, and just your story and your background and everything you're doing in Conway as well. And the goal for this live, by the way, guys, if you're thinking about coming to Skill Stability, if you are coming to Skill Stability, to hear from the speakers themselves, a little bit of their background, what they're up to, why, it should be the number one opportunity for you to like get together with people like this. We're all getting together in April 24th, 25th, 26th in Harding University in Searcy, Arkansas. Why that might be a must, but also for those that maybe you don't get to attend, a little bit of FOMO, but also, an opportunity to hear from people that are actively connecting with others, whether it's on socials, networking, the people that can help you in your journey as an entrepreneur, right? So today we're going to start with Jeff. Jeff, I want to, let's start a little bit of your background for those that haven't met you yet. How do you usually describe what you do, what you're passionate about, and then a little bit of your background on how you got there?
Sure. So I'm an Arkansan by not by birth. I'm a Texan by birth, but an Arkansan by choice. I've lived here pretty much my entire life. My parents were Arkansans and grew up in the south part of Arkansas, a real small town. Came to the University of Central Arkansas here in Conway, go Bears, to college, and I've stayed here for the most part ever since then. Actually, I was formerly trained as a paramedic and a respiratory therapist, and I spent 9 years on the helicopter team at Arkansas Children's Hospital as a paramedic respiratory therapist, 6 years of which I was also a professor at the University of Arkansas for medical sciences. And I knew I didn't want to get another clinical degree, so I got a doctorate in leadership and organizational behavior. That led me to Axiom Corporation, a publicly traded technology company at the time, located here in Conway, where I spent pretty much the next 20 years doing mergers and acquisitions, global operations, lived in the UK for about 18 months, started a company in Poland, started one in China, acquired one and managed it in Saudi Arabia, Dubai, and one in Brazil. So I got a lot of really great experience operating, starting companies all around the world.
That's awesome. And what is right now after with all of that experience, Jeff, you have been working with business owners today. Tell me more about what you're doing today. And that's going to guide us a little bit of what we're going to be covering on stage, right? And just through the sessions that we're having. But I would love to, how have you navigated that background into entrepreneurship today?
Yeah. So eight years ago, actually, more like about 2010, so 15 years ago, I started investing in some local businesses, an insurance group, a home care firm, a digital marketing group, an automotive service center. Started investing in some local businesses while I was still employed that I could touch and feel and help to grow and what have you. So about 10 years ago, I started a venture fund called Cadron Creek Capital, which is now called Cadron Capital Partners, and we're on our third fund there. And then in 2016, on my 50th birthday, I retired from the corporate world, so to speak, and started the Conductor, which is an entrepreneurial support organization based here in Conway that has a statewide remit. And so our model is that we secure third-party sources of funding, the Arkansas Economic Development Commission, the U.S. Small Business Administration, the University of Central Arkansas, City of Fayetteville, and others. And we provide one-on-one coaching, mentoring, training, support for entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, small business owners. And we have a co-working space called the Arnold Innovation Center. And then we have a billable consulting firm that operates outside the state of Arkansas, inside for companies that don't qualify for the funded services, and outside the state of Arkansas, called Kentucky. So I spend the vast majority of my time helping organizations and their leaders generate sustained results in the areas of strategy, innovation, profit growth, organizational effectiveness, and leadership.
I'm so curious because, like everybody that's coming, or most people that are coming to the event are entrepreneurs, right? And a lot of them are in Arkansas and like different states. What have you seen in this day to day? I feel like as you being part of the conductor and leading other entrepreneurs in that path of getting starting from scratch, what are some of the advices that you would bring to entrepreneurs in general as they're getting started in their business? So like, just somebody that's wanting to like just really go into entrepreneurship after your years of experience, what have you seen that you think, hey, this would be advice that I would give to this guys?
That's most entrepreneurs are idea people, and so they generate an idea, they fall in love with that idea, and then they mortgage their future to make that idea come to fruition. And they don't spend the time investigating whether that idea solves a big enough problem that impacts enough people that people will pay to have solved. And so they run out of money before they determine that perhaps the business problem they were trying to solve wasn't big enough. And so we like to say, in the words of Ash Maurya, fall in love with the problem you're solving and fall out of love with your particular solution. So
I was just talking to somebody that is new in entrepreneurship, and this person was like, well, I'm trying to focus on this specific niche, like they're trying to do something for like an industry specific. And he's like, well, but I don't know if that should be the industry that I want to focus on. Maybe I want to focus on another industry. And my advice was exactly that. Well, first off, like it helps to have connections in the industry when you're trying to decide where you're wanting to focus your services, right? But then second off, like you have to be super, like sort of obsessed about the problems that industry or your ideal client or your avatar is facing, because that's the only way that
That's right.
You're going to be able to like, get to them and actually make a connection. I think it's super, super valuable for that. Especially as we think about, the topic for the event is scaling with stability. In your experience, Jeff, as you're leading a lot of these entrepreneurs in growing their business, what do you think is the number one factor that allows people to really scale their business with stability? What do you think about that?
Well, so I believe it was James Clear who said, we don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems. And so unfortunately, what happens is most entrepreneurs don't create a business, they create a job for themselves, and they're chained to their desk, so to speak, or they're chained to their computer or to their telephone or what have you. And they don't build the systems that other people can execute. And so as a result, they fall prey to what we call the founder's curse, that says the value of your business is directly proportional is inversely proportional. So the value of your business is inversely proportional to the dependence that your business has on you to actually run it. And so while early stage entrepreneurs have to be the one running the business, over time, as they mature, they need to be maturing those business systems, putting them in place and maturing them so that the business is not dependent specifically upon them. The other thing I would say is, and you used this word a couple of moments ago, that ideal client profile. Can't tell you the number of times I have asked, who's your ideal client profile? And the small business owner or entrepreneur says, well, everybody is. Everybody can buy my product or service. And my response to them is that if everybody is your target audience or your ideal client, then you will go broke trying to market and sell to them because you can't create a messaging that resonates with them well enough. And so you shoot for the middle, lose both ends. And once again, you go broke before you figure that out. Nothing happens until somebody sells something. Nothing happens until somebody sells something. So that entrepreneur, even if he or she is a technologist at heart, during the early days of their business, they've got to be the salesperson as well until they build some degree of scale that they can begin to bring other people in and build the systems and put the systems in place to actually scale with stability.
That is so crucial, just like having, and I think it's really hard for entrepreneurs to like resist their, like kind of like instincts of like, if I know how to do this, like this is surely what I should be doing. I see that happen quite a bit when we're talking about, should we focus on selling or should we focus on the fulfillment side, right? Like, just like, who do I hire? All of these questions that I'm sure you get the pleasure of advising people over and just guiding people on, because it is a journey, right? It's so crazy. So I'm really happy to hear
It
that.
is.
You're guiding one of the tracks at the event. Talk to us more about what can people expect about this track. What are your thoughts? Like, how are you envisioning those 6 hours? For those that do not know, and this is the first time watching a live about Scale with Stability, at the event, this is kind of a little bit different than most events. We're gonna get the on stage presence of some of the speakers, but then we're going 6 hours deep. Our idea with the event is that our attendees are actually able to work on the bottlenecks of their business, whether it's, like just sales, like leadership, anything that may be in the 7 tracks that we have. And one of the tracks being led by Jeff. So I would love for you to, Jeff, to just explain a little bit of what you have envisioned for this track. What can people expect? Talk to us more about it.
Yeah, so we're going to be running the Growth Accelerator track. And so we're looking for companies that really want to put an accelerated plan in to grow their business. And so we're going to spend those 6 hours really hyper-focused on helping them define the building blocks that lead to accelerated yet sustained. So it's one thing to accelerate your growth and then fall off of a cliff. What we're talking about is sustained strategic growth that comes about in an accelerated fashion. We're going to help them build those building blocks and put those in place. And we're going to answer 3 overarching questions throughout the 3 days. And you know what? I just thought of this. We may actually answer one question each of the 3 sessions, right? Who are we? Where are we going? And how are we going to get there? Right? So those are the 3 questions that we're going to help them answer. In the midst of talking about that, we're also going to talk about what we call the culture of excellence. And I know I talked with JC about that on a previous recording not long ago. But my experience working with hundreds of companies over the last 3 decades is that the ones who are successful at creating sustained strategic growth, they build what we call a culture of excellence. And so we're going to talk about what the culture of excellence is. We're going to talk about why it's important. And we're going to talk about the 6 elements of the culture of excellence as we're putting these building blocks in place to drive accelerated growth.
I would love for you to share a little bit about, maybe one of the experiences that you've gotten with working with businesses. And, you work with a lot of these organizations through your consulting and investment. Can you share an example of a business that you feel did a great job at scaling with stability and that has implemented a lot of stuff that you're sharing on that track for people? Give us maybe like somebody that maybe still stands out, and like, oh man, they started their business, right? And these are some of the things that they did. And that's part of the lessons that we get to experience together in those 6 hours.
Yeah, we'll be talking a lot about a lot of different case studies and examples, right? I think of one company that is in the software space, in the financial software space. And this company was a $5 million company when we were working with them and actually made an investment in them. And during the pandemic, the CEO saw an opportunity to support the PPP loan process, the Paycheck Protection Program loan process, with a piece of software to help companies apply for those loans, banks to actually receive those applications, turn those applications around, make those loans, receive the forgiveness documents, turn those forgiveness documents around, and what have you. And so because they had stability in place for the core business, right, this $5 million business, because they had stability in place with the core business, they had a strong leadership team, they had a culture of excellence, they had the right processes in place, they were able to moonlight, if you will, as a business, to go and create this unique application that served the market for about an 18-month period during that pandemic 18 to 20 month period during that pandemic. And they generated $130 million worth of one-time revenue during that 18 to 20 months. That completely transformed the face of what was at that time a $5 million business. So that's one example, one of several that we'll use. We worked with a healthcare firm, and after we did with this company what we are going to do with the participants in the Growth Accelerator track, those 6 hours, we did the same thing with this company and helping them put those building blocks in place and address where they needed to implement elements of the culture of excellence. The CEO came back to me and said, you helped us move farther in the last 30 days than we've moved in the last 2 years.
Wow. How many businesses have you guys been a part of and supporting through the Conductor? Can you share a little bit more about that for the people that do not know about what the Conductor has done in the past few years?
Yeah. So we have multiple programs. Startup Junkie is our business up in Northwest Arkansas. Is it getting loud out here? Can you hear that?
No, you're good.
It's just started raining out here, and so I'm sorry. Okay. Startup Junkie is our partner up in Northwest Arkansas.
Storm right now.
Yeah, our fourth 100-year flood in 15 years or something like that. So anyway, so between the Conductor, Startup Junkie, our 75 strong program, and our Rise program, coupled with the fact that we've been doing this for 15 years, the Conductor 8.5 years, Startup Junkie for another 6.5 or 7 above that, we've literally worked with thousands. Any given year, we will do about 1,500 one-on-one coaching engagements with entrepreneurs. Now, sometimes that will be one person who comes multiple times. Other times it'll be a unique person every single time. So, for instance, in our Rise program, which is for purely tech and tech-enabled companies, we have 172 companies that are part of that portfolio of services that we provide.
Wow, that's impressive. I mean, like, so, I cannot imagine, like just what the needs of one business, now 170 something businesses, the needs that you're supplying, like the support and all the things that they need in order to like grow their business. That's pretty impressive. I'm really excited for everybody that's going to be part of the track. Can you restate, because this track, you mentioned a few of the items that you're really wanting to focus on. What is the one thing that you hope that these people walk away with after being invested 6 hours in the track with you?
That they walk away, and for the first time, if they've never done it before, they have a simple, now simple doesn't mean easy, and simple doesn't mean non-impactful. So they have a simple plan that creates clarity and focus for them over the next 3 years, but that also brings that clarity and focus into the next 90 days. So this is where we're going to be 3 years from now. These are the things that have to happen for us to get there. Here are the things that we have to accomplish in the next 12 months in order to get a third of the way there. And here's what we've got to do in the next 90 days. So all of that could fit on 2 pages, maybe 3. So it's no 3-ring binders allowed. It's not a 3-ring binder. It's not something that they're going to put reams and reams of paper in to impress somebody who has zero impact on their business and then put on the shelf. It's not going to be that. It's going to be a clear, crisp, concise plan that they will be able to walk out of there with confidence and comfort and competence, knowing that they can execute it.
Well, I'm super jealous because I feel like if we had started our business with this type of knowledge, and just like support, and if we were in our business, in our earlier years, man, the changes. I think that's why, that's one of the reasons why JC and I have been so, I guess, addicted in creating this type of experiences and just being part of these experiences right now, right? Like we get to have the chance to like put this together and be part of this. But it really comes from a need that we understand that we had especially in our first years. And even today, I'd say, I don't think there's any business owner that ever stops being a student. And I feel like that for us has been 100% true, right? Like we always need to be in contact with people that are doing cool things that we can call, that we can, rely on, and can guide us in the best way possible. And I think like that's something that you're definitely going to be doing, not only in the 6 hours of the track that you're doing, but in your day to day through the conductor. So I'm really excited that everybody's going to get a chance to experience that. So if you're not from Arkansas and don't get the experience to, or the chance to be part of the conductor today, you're going to have that opportunity to have like an inside look into what this is. My last question for you, Jeff, as we finish this interview, which I'm really excited for everybody that's watching, you're probably like, okay, I really need to be part of this track. So make sure that you reach out to our concierge. Sarah is, if you're part of the Facebook group, Sarah is there, and you probably have been receiving emails about booking your track and making sure that you select one. So if you haven't done one already, this one's going to be a really impactful one. You might want to make sure that you pick your top 3 and then make a decision, because we're only going to have 7 tracks and you have to pick one, right? That you're going to go 6 hours deep, which I'm really excited about. But as we're wrapping up this conversation, Jeff, what would be one advice that you would give for people that are, oh man, I don't know if I should go. I don't know if I should like invest in this conference to attend right now. I'm not sure if this is the right time for me, because I know we've been there as well in the past, right? When we were just getting started in our business, or while we were thinking about where do I invest, my time and effort outside of money, because money normally we can make money again, the time, right, that you sometimes have to take away from your business. What would be your advice for them?
My first piece of advice would be, if you're not willing to invest in yourself, then why would you think that your customers, your banker, your perhaps other investors, employees, why would they want to invest in you and the services that you provide? So that's kind of point number one. Point number two is, and you made a comment about being lifelong learners a few moments ago, and when it comes to business, learning is like riding a bicycle. If you don't continue with forward momentum, you will fall off. And so I think the Chinese proverb says that learning is like rowing in a canoe. Failure to move forward is to move backwards. And so I would encourage everyone to ask themselves, what's more important than spending 3 days digging into their business and learning new things about how to transform their lives, the lives of their employees, the lives of their family members, and their own lives as well. So
absolutely. I love that you share that. And guys, for anybody that's watching, invest in yourselves. I know that from my own experience, anything that we have invested in learning, you can learn in 2 ways, I think, right? You can learn by, falling and, falling through the obstacles and making the mistakes that you need to make. And that's for sure a great way to learn. We have learned that way, in many, many scenarios. It's a painful one, but you for sure learn. Or you can pay to learn as well, and pay for that knowledge of years of experience from everybody that's going to be there. And I think the beautiful thing about in-person events is the fact that we get to experience all of this together and make real life connections that not only will serve for the 3 days that we have at the event, but forever, right? If you're able to make them right. So thank you so much, Jeff. We're super excited to have you in Scale Stability in a few, I want to say 20 days. Now I'm counting the days. So 20 days until we start having the first days, which is crazy. It's happening, all this effort and all this work to put a room of this size together in Searcy, Arkansas, of all places, right? But we're super excited and cannot wait to experience. And very thankful for you to take the time and to make the effort to attend. So thank you so much for this opportunity to be with us.
Well, thank you, Karen, and to both you and to JC and your teams for the work that you've been doing to put the #1 growth conference in the South together, the Scale with Stability Summit. Can't wait to be there. Can't wait to see everyone just in the general sessions, in the Growth Accelerator track, and to, like you said, establish some lifelong connections that we can continue moving forward with.
Absolutely. See you very soon.